This is a graph we've seen before, and it depicts our total body of water and how it's distributed. And we've already saw that there are two major compartments, intracellular fluid and extracellular fluid. And however, our body fluids are not static. They don't remain in one compartment or other. They're able to move. And in this video, we will discuss how our fluids are able to move between these two major compartments, the intracellular fluid and extracellular fluid. But in order for this fluid to move, there has to be some sort of driving force. And this driving force is called osmotic forces. And we will see that osmotic forces allow fluids to move and maintain osmolarity between the extracellular fluid and intracellular fluid. And it's an important concept that there's an equilibrium in osmolarity. And we'll talk about what osmolarity is later. But for now, let's show what I'm talking about. So we've seen this diagram before, and we saw that there's an extracellular fluid compartment and an intracellular fluid compartment. And in between, there's a sturdy cell membrane that tightly regulates particle flow between the two compartments. However, I just told you that osmotic forces drive fluid flow between these two compartments. How is that possible? Well, we'll talk more about that, but I'll give you an illustrative example, and you'll see that this is all you really need to know further on in your physiology studies. And let's give an example right here. So now suppose there's 4 particles here and 3 particles here. Well, if these two volumes are the same, the intracellular fluid and extracellular fluid, but there's 4 particles here and 3 particles here, we see that there's a higher concentration of particles in the extracellular fluid than in the intracellular fluid. And this difference causes this pressure gradient that drives fluid flow. But we just mentioned that the cell membrane is impermeable to these particles. So if we see this particle reach the cell membrane, it'll bounce off. So it's impermeable. It's reflecting the particles out. And same on this side. So if this one particle can't move onto this other side to give it a fourth particle on the intracellular fluid and reach equilibrium, then we need to move something else, and that something else is water or fluid. And fluid will flow up into the extracellular fluid to give an equilibrium and concentration. So I'll show that right here. Fluid flowing up. And another way to show this is suppose we have a fraction. And we have our particles right here. There's 4. And there's 3. And then there's our volume of water are the same. The two volumes of water are equal. But this cannot happen. The particle cannot move to this side. Or actually, this extra particle right here cannot move to this side. So this concentration is greater, but we cannot reach this equilibrium and concentration. So instead, we have fluid flowing from here to here. And why is that so? Let's think about this. So there's a higher concentration of particles here than here. So in other words, there's more water relatively to particles in the intracellular fluid and less water relatively to its particles. So we move water to the other side plus some water, and the concentrations equalize. The fractions become equal.